Welcome to a thing that I hope to make into a thing, and that is things I get at garage sales from my man cave. And for my first entry, I present to you my first haul, this amazing assortment of antiquated nonsense, isn't it? I'm going to do a quick rundown of what I got, and then afterwards do a closer look at everything. So let's get started with a 70s Zenith AM tube radio, clock radio. And I don't know why I'm so attracted to these things, I just love the way they look. I love tube audio, I love clocks, so it was worth the $1 I spent on it, for me anyway. And a little craft airplane that I couldn't resist, even if it's crooked. And this beast, a 27-inch Sony Trinitron CRT TV. And it might sound crazy, I know, but I've actually been specifically looking for a Trinitron of this size for a while now, for retro gaming and other purposes. I'll get into that later, but has 3 composite inputs, which is good. Also has a couple of cracks at the bottom of the chassis, which is not so good, but seems solid. $3, talked down from $30, believe it or not. Picked up a few records. Could have grabbed a few more, but the guy was selling them for $3 a piece, and it was a bit too much for the condition that they were in. But anyway, I got the best of Beach Boys, Supertramps, Even in the Quietest Moments, and Who's Next. Then this Alice in Chains Unplugged DVD. I love this one, actually. And music DVDs are holding their value, so can't go wrong. For $1. A Bluetooth keyboard, which is in great shape, hardly used. Grabbed this for $2, which is a damn good deal. A couple of Xbox 360 games. Nothing too special. They were on sale for $2 each, so I couldn't resist. They had a few other games that were there too, but they were Kinect only, and they didn't even have a Kinect unit, so... Mall Tycoon and Sid Meier's Sim Golf for the PC that I picked up at the same sale for $1. And then these phones that were in a free bin, and I guess they just somewhat reminded me of childhood of playing with shit like this and pretending they were two-way radios. I really don't know why I grabbed them. I have no use for them whatsoever. But also in that free box was this Canon i80 printer with a bunch of unopened ink cartridges, which is what really kind of caught my attention. I don't really have a functioning printer at the moment, so this was quite a delight when I saw it. Looks decent. Had all the cords, both power and USB. Does look like it had a few miles on it. But I was hopeful. And just look at all these ink carts. Oh, geez. And last but certainly not least, this Kenwood stereo amplifier. And I love silver face stereo units, so this one immediately caught my eye. Many inputs and outputs. But I was a bit skeptical about it, seeing as when I asked the guy how much he wanted for it, he said, $3, take a chance. And well, I took that chance, and you'll see how that turned out later. Alright, so now it's time to get a closer look at everything we have here. And see what I got myself into. There's a few causes for concern on some things, so it's time to dive in. And I start with the printer, because I really need a functioning printer right now. I gotta get some resumes out. And yeah, that can't be a good sound. I'm going to come back to this one later in the vid. This beautiful AM radio is working like a charm. And I know tubes take a long time to warm up, but these things take like almost a full 60 seconds. But they work, and the clock works good too. Yeah, the only real problem with the AM radio is the content.
Clears the president, exonerates the president, and the media is stamping their little feet, shouting, it does not exonerate him. Show me where the word exonerate is. It doesn't say exonerate.
Onto the PC games, Mall Tycoon. I'm really not familiar with. Just checking out the contents, and the CD has no sleeve. Great. CD doesn't look in bad shape though. So it got the wash and the new sleeve. Sim Golf looks interesting. Has the case, but it's broken. CD's in good shape though. Now the Xbox 360 games get a check. Kung Fu Panda's in good shape. Here, have a coupon code. Brave is in good shape too. Both will get a wash before being put away. And at this point, I just couldn't resist anymore. I had to get the Trinitron going. So my dog ambitiously assisted me with lugging this thing into the room. Now I have to explain here. The whole reason I wanted this size and this model TV specifically is because the Trinitrons are pretty much like the best of the best CRTs. And this was the biggest size TV that I could handle carrying on my own. And I just barely was able to handle it on my own. I admit I was careful, but my lower back is still a bit sensitive after moving this thing. And first things first, gotta test it on some Sonic. Looking pretty good, but seems like the previous owner had some wonky settings going on, so after a factory reset and some tinkering, looked great. Just as I had hoped, and sounds great too. I gotta step my camera game up though. This video really doesn't give this TV any justice. So satisfied, I gave it a cleaning. It had some grime that usually builds up in the corner of these TVs, but nothing too bad. Now this TV actually has audio out on the back, and seeing as I just bought a Kenwood amp for $3, figured what better way to test it. Or so I had hoped. I noticed that actually on the chassis there's a few places where it looked like this thing got hot, and when you turn it on you get a flickering light and this. Yeah, that's popping and buzzing sounds coming from the transformer. So this thing was clearly toast and wasn't going to be worth the repair. So at this point, I'm taking a break. I just populated the shelf under the TV with some appropriate accessories. Of course, the Sega Genesis, a VHS, a PlayStation 2, Sega Dreamcast, and the original Xbox. And I'm using this time to test my Alice in Chains DVD. And the rooster is being properly snuffed. And I've even set up some entertainment for myself later. Got Sonic Adventure, Crash Bandicoot, Katamari Damacy, I don't know how you pronounce that. And the greatest game of all time, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. But before I get too carried away, I still got a few more things to check. Onto the vinyl now, actually. Just checking for any blemishes now that I can get a closer look. The Supertramp has a bit of dirt buildup on the edge, but it looks like it can be cleaned up, nothing rude. The Who's Next cover is a bit beat up. The bottom's actually torn. Not separated, but actually... The record's in good shape, though. And as for the Beach Boys, it's got no sleeve, unfortunately. But to be honest, I really didn't check the records when I was out buying them. I was actually out garage selling with somebody, and they were eager to move on, so it was what it was. As for the Bluetooth keyboard, this thing works like a charm. For $2, and it connects to everything I've tried it with so far, including this mint condition first-gen iPad. It's got iOS and Android switch on the back, and I even got it to work with Linux, so good deal. But for the printer, well, I took it apart and I found the problem. There's a couple of the plastic cam wheels are cracked, and this one's even completely broken. And I looked online, and this is apparently a common problem with these things. And it's really not worth the repairs at this point, so unfortunately, it's toast. And now I got a shitload of these ink cartridges, and I have nothing to do with them, so might do an eBay listing for them, or Craigslist, or something. Would hate to see them go to waste. And this wireless phone receiver thing, I have no idea why I grabbed this. It was free in a box with a broken printer, and I have no use for the thing whatsoever. If I was going to collect landline phones, this wouldn't be on the list. I'd collect rotary phones or presidential style, like red phones. I think I just, like I said, it reminded me of like walkie-talkies when I was younger. So, this gets the floor. And well, that's pretty much a wrap on the things I got for the man cave this week. Some free stuff, good deals, and altogether I spent less than $25, so I'm happy. Especially with this TV. I'm thrilled with this TV. It sounds good, it looks great, and it was pretty much exactly what I was looking for the man cave. And from now on, all consoles that I have that are PS2/original Xbox era or older are going to be going through this thing. These CRTs just make this stuff look so much smoother. And I understand it's because of their flaws, but CRTs are pretty much what these older games and video formats were meant for. And if you try and play like 8 or 16-bit consoles on modern televisions, they just look awful. They're usually over-pixelated or out of color balance or whitewashed. Like CRTs tend to round the edges and just take the harshness off of the pixels, creating a much more pleasing image. Now this video doesn't give it any justice at all, I'll admit, but the difference is drastic when you actually see it. And I got quite a bit of nostalgia of memories of sitting too close to these things. As they squeal at extremely high frequency that sends your dogs running. It's good stuff. Well, that's it from my first episode of garage sale stuff for the man cave. I don't know, I really haven't figured out a name for this yet. But if you like what you see and you want me to do more of this, please send me some feedback in the way of comments or even a like, or any encouragement helps. I'm thinking next time I might actually film while I'm out at the garage sale so you can see what is out there that I might have missed and you can yell at me for not grabbing it. But anyway, thanks for watching.